Hi, witches, supposed to be. This is Boy Raven over here. Today I have something that I promised you guys, and it's something that makes me a lot of happiness to share with you guys. We're going to be doing the review of Rebel Witch by Kellyanne Maddox. You know, some time ago, I shared with you guys a review that I made with a lot of anger and a lot of hate. It was Sky Alexander, The Modern Guide to Witchcraft. And I really disliked that book, and I was so frustrated to see that new witches out there and people that actually need guidance have books like that as guidance. And then Kellyanne Maddox came out with this amazing book, and I want to share with you my opinion on this book, my review on this book. So stick around, you're gonna love this, and it's coming right now. First, let me start by telling you that this book is absolutely beautiful. I love the imagery of this book. I love the way these letters feel. I love everything about this book. Kellyanne Maddox is such a colorful human, and she's so adorable. I don't know if you have seen her YouTube channel, but if you haven't, I'm going to link it down here in the description of the video so you can visit her, because she's truly an adorable person. It's very entertaining to see her. You're really going to appreciate what she talks about and the love and the enthusiasm that she put into her videos. She's British, so she also reads the book. I have these books also in Audible, and I am enjoying this book so much. I don't know if I have an Audible and Hoopla. I have it in one of my applications in my phone, but having her narrating this book is absolutely amazing because her accent is so beautiful and it sounds so genuine. You know, when an author reads its own book, they put emphasis in the things that they want to put the emphasis, and it's just such a beautiful narration when you get the author actually reading their own book. So before I go ahead and I talk to you about what the book has inside, I want to share with you something, and maybe you are like me. I started my path in witchcraft many years ago, witches. And when I started, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, there was definitely no Instagram, and thank God there was no TikTok. And I was so alone. I live in an island, Puerto Rico. There's not such thing as the witchcraft that I practice. If there is, it's very underground. Puerto Rico is flooded with Santeria, Espiritismo, and some other Afro-Caribbean religions, and there I was, all lonely, all by myself, trying to figure out where was my witchcraft. What was it that I was feeling inside? I started, and I told you, Paganism for Idiots, and then I am so thankful that I found Silver Raven Wolf, the Book of Shadows for the New Generation. That book taught me so many things. However, that book was Wicca. It was really hard for me to apply some of the things that Wicca religions followed because it did not resonate with me. And it was so very difficult. And not having a guidance like this made me waste so much time and I have to do so much research to finally be confident in what I was believing and what I felt in my heart. Some months ago, I shared with you guys a video that came with a lot of hatred. And I still stand in what I feel about this book. And this is the book of Sky Alexander, The Modern Guide to Witchcraft. And it's such a bad book, and I can only imagine if back in that time when I had all this curiosity and all this thirst for witchcraft, if I would have found something like Sky Alexander book, which is such a wishy-washy bad, truly bad book, what would have happened to me? I think I'm smart enough to discern what is a bad book from a good book, I guess because I read so much. But you know, I feel so sad about so many new witches that have gone to that book as a resource for their knowledge. And then this girl, Kellyanne Maddox, came out with this book, and it just made my heart flutter. I just make my heart do flips and jumps of happiness because I am so excited that she came out with this book. So what is the reason of this book? What is the reason of Rebel Witch? The whole purpose of Rebel Witch is to show you that you are your own teacher, that your witchcraft pertains only to you. You're going to make your own witchcraft. Now, that's not to say that you're going to start doing witchcraft and you're not going to study and you're not going to grow in knowledge and do your research and then discern what applies to you and what doesn't. But with this book, she's going to empower you for you to decide how your witchcraft is going to be. The book is divided in 3 parts. Let's begin, make it happen, and keep on growing. Keep on growing, witch. Keep on growing. That's the most important part. My favorite part of the book, I think, is the first part. I was very moved, and I'm going to be very honest. The beginning of this book brought some tears into my eyes. Not only because I remember how hard it was for me in the beginning to actually get to be in my path, but there were some other things as you touch over here. Sometimes I'm very protective of the word witch because I honor that word so much, and there's some things that don't sit well with me, like witches, and as a political stand I really dislike it. But Kellyanne Maddox, with her beautiful words, make me stop and rethink my standpoint. The word witch belongs to no one, and anybody can carry that word. The most important thing is that if you decide to become a witch and call yourself such things, make sure that that comes from a very genuine side of your heart. The first chapter is all about the word witch. She's going to share with you some views on what the word witch means. You adopt the one that you think is the right one for you. She's going to follow with why to be a rebel witch. What does a rebel witch means? And that is sovereignty. That means you making your own magic based on the feelings of your soul, the feelings of your heart, and in your own experiences, witch. After that, we're going to encounter challenges of being a witch. Wow, so many challenges, especially a rebel witch. Challenges of being a rebel witch. In the beginning of my path, I found so many people telling me what not to do. You guys know that I have this YouTube channel, I don't know, since 2011, 2013, and I have encountered so many people coming into my video telling me not to do things like this, not to do things like that. Use a match. No, you cannot use a lighter, or so many things. Fold this way, fold it that way. You do not put that things like that. It's like, oh my God. So these are some of the encounters that you're going to find when you're a rebel witch. And a rebel witch is being your own authority. It's going to be yourself. And how to handle all those pushbacks, being ridiculed, being corrected all the time. How do you handle that? I don't know about you, but for a long time, I really kept quiet about my craft because there was more judgment that I will get rather than just help. So you know what? If you're not going to help anybody, don't be judging. She discussed coming out of the broom closet. Should you come out of the broom closet? Who do you tell? And things that you need to take into consideration when you are deciding if you're going to come out of the broom closet or not, which is the first part of this book was my favorite. All of this book is very important, but the first part was my favorite because it really resonates so much with me because of what I went through and what I lived when I started my path in witchcraft. And then you're going to questioning the consensus. What does she mean with questioning the consensus? Listen, you have no idea how many correspondences book I have. And you don't know how many times correspondences in one path are very different in correspondences from another path. Let me read this for you. A consensus is often reached because of many witches trying the same thing and getting fizzy results, so good results, magical results. But then again, it can never be the deciding factor in whether or not you agree with the consensus on something. You can only receive that answer from your own personal experience. Oh my God, witches. Let me give you an example that she writes over here. Lavender is widely known to encourage sleep and promote lower blood pressure. But let's say that you associate lavender with a particular inspiring and power aunt of yours who used to grow lots of it in her garden. In that case, you may see lavender as a plant that could conjure up her qualities of boldness and confidence, or help you connect with her spirits and have conversations with her. At the end of the day, witches, just because I do things one way does not mean that you have to do it the same exact way. So many witches are so in love with crystals. I am not that type of witch. But that doesn't mean that you are wrong or that I'm wrong. It just means that we are all different witches. We're all different. And that's when you have to question the consensus and you apply to you what resonates with you and what moves you. Because after all, that's what's going to make your magic more powerful. Every time she finished her chapter, she's going to give you an assignment. And you're going to either write it or try it. And she's going to give you ideas for you to write, and she's going to give you ideas for you to try. So every single chapter, finish with this. She's going to finish the first part of this book with making it your own and why witchcraft. And she's going to discuss with you why should you choose witchcraft, or why do people choose witchcraft? Different things that we use witchcraft for. It's a great first part. In the beginning of the second part, we're going to have some statement of power, some power statement. And this is the part in which we make it happen. So the second part of the book is really basic. We're going to be talking about the witchy calendar, divine and other non-physical beings. You touch a little bit on pop magic, pop culture. We're also going to be talking about spiritual hygiene, cleansing energy, and creating a sacred space. So you have an idea of how to create your altars, cleansing, organizing, creating all your sacred space. One of the things that she touched over here that I never thought of that way. If you like to meditate, you probably have special place in your mind. And she talks in this book about creating your own altar in your imagination and keeping it in your imagination. So if you need to do magic and you need to get in contact with all the magical essence that you have in your altar, you can always bring it back into your imagination and visualize yourself in front of your altar, your imaginary altar. And I think that's a great exercise that all of you guys should practice, because many times we are at work, we are doing something far away from our magical space and our sacred space, and we need that energy and we need to tap on that energy. And it's such a beautiful way for you to actually go back to your basics, to your sacred space, and grab what you need when you need it. Again, you're going to be talking about your tools, your altars, spellcraft, rituals, and other witchy activities, and keeping records. Grimoires, the Book of Shadows, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be just a Book of Shadows. There's many things that you can do, not necessarily just having a book and writing it down. You're gonna get so many ideas from this book. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. Even if you're a seasoned witch, you should read this book. Chapter 13 is probably going to be one of those very popular chapters in this book, because she's going to tell you how to do spells. What's the order? She's going to give you some basic guidelines that if you want to follow, you can. Nothing that she tells you in this book, she's telling you that this is the way it is. She's just giving you some guidelines. She's just giving you some ideas. She's just giving her perspective on magic for you to see if you agree with her, or maybe you can grab something from what she tells you and you adapt it to what you think and what you feel. She also is going to give you definition of sub-type of spell casting. Like, for example, we're going to talk over here about moon magic, candle magic, puppet magic, cord cutting, glamour magic, sigil magic, sex magic, tarot magic, and so on and so forth. There is so much magic to be done, which is... She's also going to add in here some internet magic, and I think that one of the things that make this book so beautiful is how relevant she is to our time and how much she can reach out to people nowadays. This is a book that is written in today's language for today's life. It makes me feel so happy that somebody out there is so relevant right now to our lives and to the magic that we're practicing. Of course, this book wouldn't be complete if she doesn't talk a little bit about type of divinations. In this chapter, you're going to know about tarot, palmistry, scrying, pendulums, ogham, runes, and so many other different types of divination tools. It's a general description of what they are to see if you are inclined to any of them. Of course, in part 3, which is going to be Let's Keep on Growing, she's going to go into deeper stuff in regards to magic. And one of the things that she touched in this chapter, guys, is ethics. And I think that's very important that we listen, which is if you start this book, do not just pick and choose from this book. You must start this book and you must finish it. She's going to be touching up using things from other cultures, and that is a hot topic right now. Culture appropriation and whatnot. The ethics behind love spells. The ethics behind doing spells for other people that you don't know. Giving advice or predictions without being asked. The ethics behind binding and banishing hexing. What's the ethics behind communicating with the dead, and the ethics within working with demons and deities? Some of you guys are going to be very like, oh my god, demons and deities. You know what? Read the book and make your own conclusions when it comes to that. The ethics about taking payments for witch services. That's something that took me a very long time to accept, that sometimes you get to get paid for stuff. She's going to talk about another hot topic right now, which is shadow self. You're going to have some techniques, some work with your shadow self, it's basics, and I think it's great that you have that. Chapter 21, troubleshooting, all the things that could happen when you practice witchcraft and how to identify things that could be potentially trouble. Last chapter is going to be connecting with others, and that is you trying to communicate with other witches, covens, your level of involvement with other people, and ultimately it's up to you. I like to be solitary. Last, one of the things that I love the most that she did, and Kellyanne Maddox, you rock, you are so badass, is further reading. She took the time to put over here lists of books and authors that you can base your research on. Okay, so you're going to have beginner witchcraft books. You're going to have history lessons. These are going to be academic books that you can use. Chaos Magic. If you follow her in YouTube, you know that she loves chaos magic. Contemporary witchcraft, and tarot and shadow work. Listen, witches, Kellyanne Maddox is giving you right here in this book so much information for you to start the absolutely right way. I just didn't know I love this woman so much. I highly recommend this book. This book is absolutely 10 out of 10. If you are a new witch and you want to know about witchcraft from a very unbiased, open perspective, and it's so empowering to you, this is a beautiful book. Not only for beginners, but if you're like me, an older witch, this book gave me some kind of closure, believe it or not. This vindicated my thoughts, this vindicated my heart, and this makes me so proud of the witch that I am today. Rebel Witch, please, guys, witches, this is a beautiful book for you to start your path. Check it out in Amazon. I'm going to put the links in my description of the video, and please make sure to go to Kellyanne Maddox's YouTube channel. I'm going to link it again to over here, and say hi from me. Witches, it's very important to be very, very smart. Knowledge is power, but above all, you must stay wicked. And when I say wicked, it's for you to be aware, for you to be very aware. This is White Raven over here. I'll see you later. Bye.